Wifey and I are out at Montauk Point. That'd be Europe straight ahead. There's a few fishing boats. And we've got one kayaker. Sit on top kayaker with rods and reels and all sorts of gear. And he left about 20 minutes ago. He's gonna come back and we're gonna try to talk to him when he returns about what he loves about nature. Coming in nice. How'd you do?
Out of touch.
I saw you pretty far out there.
Not today, actually. If I really wanted him, I'd be out where those boats were.
Really? Like, so you kind of went around the front of the tip.
I can usually pick up a bunch of sea bass along here pretty easily.
Yeah.
I was surprised. I was marking a little, but I didn't get any hits or anything. Usually I can't keep them off the water.
Really? Yeah, I mean,
right on the bottom, and that's right where they are too. So.
Getting pulled around a little bit too, probably.
Anything over about 32 inches will take you for a little bit of a ride. I mean, I'm out here, and there are times when I've come off the water because the shark action was too much.
And
I
there's
couldn't get a fish to my kayak without it getting bitten off. My last trip here was 2 nights ago, and I crushed them. It was great. They were
cool.
28 to 32 inch, and in 2 hours I had over 30 bass.
Oh my gosh.
One bluefish on my way back.
Beautiful. Yeah, so I'm doing this project where I'm out in state parks asking people if they want to share what they love about nature. So when I see people like you,
don't you? What could you not love about it?
Yeah.
What do I love about the nature? It makes you realize how very small you are.
Right.
I worked on commercial fishing boats and, you know, grew up working out here, but then I lived in New Mexico, I lived in Texas, I moved around a lot.
Okay.
And, you know, I ended up back here again because there's so much to love. But my most defining moments were all out on the water, were all about realizing that you could be going like that.
Yeah, you're a little cork out there, man.
Exactly.
Yeah, there was a lot of times where I couldn't find you. I really had to, I had my binos and I saw your top most of the time, but not the boat. And then every once in a while I'd see the boat come up. You're like less than a foot above sea level, yeah.
Well, I don't usually fish during the day.
Yeah, I was wondering, the time is not the perfect, right?
No, the tide is right. I like fishing the top of the incoming so that I don't have to worry about getting pulled out.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too, right? With,
you know, on a day like today, getting pulled out is not a bad thing. They're not drinking.
how far would you get pulled? You're not fighting it, right? You're just going with it.
That's your choice. You can fight it, but it's tiring.
Yeah.
But it keeps you close. If you go with it, then, you know, you're going to have to fight it to get back unless you're going to wait for the tide to take you.
Big decision, yeah.
Oh, I like the planning that has to do.
Yeah.
A lot of people who have seen me do it have kind of tried to do it and gotten themselves fit. You have to really know. I don't go out here just any time, and I don't, you know, and I know what I'm doing. I was doing it a long time before I ever came here. I was doing it here in the daytime for a long time at low tide where I could see all the structure before I ever went out at night. I was doing it a lot at night when the water was flat before I ever went out under rough conditions. And now it obviously used to be intimidating. The first time you're taking launching off into the dark.
Yeah, yeah.
Montauk.
Yeah, yeah.
Now,
You should be. You should have that energy.
a little bit of an exhilaration, but I'm not worried anymore. The harder part is coming back in because you're worried you're going to surf a wave and get turned sideways. That's how you usually fall. It's not out there. It's going to be coming in. And it's not going to kill me. It's just going to embarrass me.
Well,
I have to pick my stuff up out of the surf.
Yeah, I mean,
but I'm not going to.
It's not super cold, right? You're touching on the subject I like to get into about like the fear of nature, and does that get in the way of your connecting with nature? And people have talked about how they've overcome the fear to be part of it, and you're the perfect example. I mean, you know, what you're doing is like a 5,000-year-old, I know kayaks,
Inuits and,
yeah, 5,000 years. And so you're really touching some root connections.
I was always, I catch a lot of fish.
Yeah.
And I was always, there's a primal gratitude associated
Yeah,
with
man.
that Armageddon never did happen. I could feed my family fish for a while.
Eat or be eaten.
Or be eaten by them, yeah. A little fear is healthy.
And if fear is important, right?
Yeah. It keeps you alive.
Like the wilderness is out of balance when there's no fear.
You know, the people who get in trouble doing this aren't, you know, people even who are going out under crappy conditions and getting in over the heads, no pun intended.
Right.
They're folks who just didn't look at the weather report. It was the planning that they liked.
Right.
And that's why I'm a teacher, so I love the idea of creating a plan, executing it, and then having it work just the way you planned it.
Beautiful. Yeah, and when the plans go awry, you're prepared for plan B, C.
Plan C.
Right. Like you said, like your plan.
Because there's been times when I needed my plan C.
Yeah. And you're thinking
about that. Deepwater. It's all about kayak rescues, basically.
Okay.
And how they got themselves into that situation. And invariably, it was that it wasn't one thing that went wrong. Well, Outliers talks about that too.
It rolls.
Book. It's never one thing.
I read that, right.
It's three things.
It's a cascading event.
You're prepared for at least two of those three things.
Yeah, that really rang true when I read that also. And if you could stop, if you could stop it after one or two, you're in good shape.
Well, the funny part is there's times where I get here.
Or slow it down at least.
One happens before I get off the beach. Like, oh shit, my power is out.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna have my depth recorder.
Oh, you have a depth recorder on there, huh?
Yeah, how is that gonna affect me? You know, in shallow water, your depth recorder is really important. So I'm gonna stay close, or I'm gonna be around rocks, and you know, that's...
But you also know where they are too, right?
Around here, yeah. There's a rock called Evans Rock.
Yeah. Really?
Pretty far out there and very close to the surface.
No kidding.
I've run into it twice.
There's no buoy near it or anything?
No, and it scares the shit out of you because you think you've been hit by, you know,
oh, it's a
whale or
that's not a sound you want to be thinking. Yeah.
No, in my case, it hits the drive that sticks down.
Oh, you have a
pedal drive.
Pedal drive. Okay. Oh wow, so you have a pedal drive and you're paddling.
Yeah, I don't use the paddle at all, really, just only to get in and out.
I really tried to get my local lake, Hempstead Lake, to put a little place to leave the boats, and it's so sad that I couldn't get that done.
That's too bad.
It really is.
Like West Hampton.
It's the only lake.
I live in East Quogue, and in West Hampton they have a rack, and it's town-owned.
Simple rack.
Put a padlock on it, it's yours.
Believe me, I did the whole spiel to 5 managers, right up the chain at the state parks, you know. It's called Hempstead Lake, and there's no access to the one lake in Nassau County. It's that sad. So do you feel like your relationship with nature has been growing your whole life, like layering?
Been pretty consistent. You know,
okay.
Because I started working at marinas and on boats early.
Right.
I was, you know, familiar and respectful of nature very early on. And I had we grew up in Shinnecock Hills, which is like in between Southampton and Hampton. And so I thought every kid had, you know, 20 acres of woods.
This access of nature,
and a beach, quarter mile away.
And a sky at night.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that is interesting. But you weren't taking it for granted. You were just digging it.
No, in fact, I had a friend tell me once, he's a local also. He said, Eric, you're my one friend who's a local who really appreciates what we have locally.
It's funny how I talk to you people. I'm serious. It's like, if you go online and check out these videos, it's like so beautiful. Everyone has another way. Nature has all these different ways of subtly changing, right? Is there one particular way you can think of that you really do pay attention and just watch and say, oh, it just did this, now it's doing this, now it's doing that?
Oh, sure, the red tide.
Red tide.
Red tide in the bay.
Just the gradual changing.
It's gradually getting worse. There's an ebb and a flow to it.
Oh, is this the nitrate?
Yeah.
Nitrates.
It comes and goes.
Yeah.
But even over a longitudinal examination, it's increasing. So, you know, you have limited amount of space in our bays.
So it's mostly in the Great South Bay?
No, Shinnecock.
Oh, Shinnecock.
So
Okay.
Shinnecock and Merchants Bay.
Oh, so it's coming off the lawns right there. A lot of the lawns is the contributing?
An old septic system. Replacement with self-contained septics and shit like that. It's self-contained. They put almost like a liner underneath.
Right, it doesn't leach.
And the water, just the same water gets recycled.
Okay.
It gets recaptured, brought up, and used to water that same lawn again.
Oh, right. Less waste.
Nothing leaches into the waterways that are nearby.
Yeah.
Because it never leaves its own property.
No, I'm a Long Islander, but I come out like once a year just because I have to be out here to feel this place. And I usually come towards the very end of the permit cycle. I never come out in the summer.
I'm never out here. During the daytime in the summer, you never come.
No, usually December is my month to come out here. And your fear is so legit. I mean, your fear is legit with a legit predator. The shark splashing around your vessel.
It's not me versus the shark.
No. It's a shark accidentally chomping your arm.
We're bumping into each other. Sometimes literally.
Oh, well, that's what happens.
You see the seal?
Oh, is that seal right there? Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I know I'm not going to catch fish close to shore.
Are the seals eating them?
Oh, heck yeah.
And scaring the life out of the rest of them.
Where there's one, there's going to be 5 or 6 more.
Is that right?
All go through all day long.
Yeah, it's great. Good sighting. Yeah, I wasn't looking that way. There's another one there. Oh, really? Look at that guy. Yeah, that's shiny. Do they just show up? Because I didn't see them before. You've been seeing them.
They've been, you know, this time of year they're around.
Do they come close to you and are they curious about you?
Yeah, they're very curious. It's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, what do they do?
They'll come within 5 or 6 feet of the kayak.
One of them or a couple of them? Oh, no way.
Most times it's just 1 or 2, but I had one time when I was at Montauk Bridge in Hampton Bay at night, and it was, sun was just setting, but it was getting darker. I didn't have great visual on them, but I could tell that they were seals. I was just under the bridge pulling lures off at the beginning of the season. When I'm getting my equipment set up, I'll go out for a couple of test runs and get something to do.
Right.
And one of them popped up, and then when he turned over, he'd slap his tail and then he'd go down. And I knew that, of course, that's a warning to the others.
Sure.
But it didn't scare them away, it drew them toward me. And then eventually...
Teamwork.
Yeah, there were like 5 of them. Not like, there were 5 of them, and they were around me in almost a perfect circle.
Wow.
And they would literally take turns. Once they would pop up, 1, 2, 3, and once all 5 were up, one of them would slap his tail and flip over, and then all the others would tail, slap and go over. It's a little disconcerting, you know, because you're used to, especially in the dark, things being afraid of you. So
yes.
When something is big and it's coming towards you,
yes,
you know, you're a little afraid. So people ask me what I'm afraid of. Seals scare me more than sharks. Sharks are predictable. Seals
with those cute
Yeah.
faces.
Yeah, I'm not worried about
the teeth.
If I came close enough to put hands on it, I would get hurt.
So they're popping and how close are they popping their heads out? Like 3 feet?
Again, if you formed a circle, it was
how far out?
50 feet across. So 25.
Oh, okay, 25 on each side.
All around.
Wow, and you're the center of attention.
Literally, and I was on my way back to my launch because I wanted to be back before dark, and I was letting the outgoing tide take me back, with the incoming take me up to the bridge. And they started following me.
Really?
They kept doing the same pattern. And
wow.
It was about 20, 25 minutes.
They just kept this circle going.
Kept the circle, same pattern. 1 head, 2 head, 3, 5.
Oh, right,
slap,
splash.
Slap, slap, they all went down.
Oh, no. How many times do they do that?
In the time, it's about a 3/4 of a mile. They probably did it 6, 7 times, the whole time. And I wondered, as I got closer, I thought, when I get into shallow water, I wonder how they're going to react.
Yeah.
Like, are they going to go into water that they wouldn't otherwise? Like,
differently.
How far will a game take them out of their safety zone, you know?
Good question.
They're going to have to decide at some point, this isn't where we are. And eventually, it was almost like they said goodbye. I swear to God, they all stopped,
so
like
sweet.
where the channel ended. You saw their heads pop up, and then it was tail slapped, and they were gone.
Man,
it was like they knew I was coming out of the water and wasn't going to be around anymore.
So do you think it might have started off, they might have saw you as a possible threat,
Oh, no.
No, not at the
No.
beginning. So from the very beginning, it was a game for them?
I mean, I don't know. I can't speak for them.
But that's what your vibe was.
Yeah, they weren't threatened. I wasn't doing any aggressive or...
Right, but you could have been near their babies, not know it.
Maybe, yeah.
But you kept moving away from where you originally saw them, so that's a good sign for them. And then they played with you for that whole way.
If I had electronics on, maybe they were... The fish finder sends out a little
Oh, they could hear, they could pick that up.
It sounds like a clicking. They might have been curious.
That's interesting too, yeah.
When I park on the beach a lot. I don't surf catch that much, but because I live so close to the water and it soothes me so much, I do it every day.
Yeah, me too.
Before work and after.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And while I'm playing my music, the vibrations will attract seals.
What do you mean? On the land?
Yeah, even though I'm on sand, which you would think would absorb every bit of it.
So that's transferring the tires into the sea.
You would think it's impossible. If it hadn't happened so many times,
I believe you.
I wouldn't be, I'd swear by it.
Great stories.
I'm gonna finish this off, but I'm not.
Yeah, do your thing, man. I have a close story. I had two beavers do that on a lake with going up and coming down and smacking their tail and causing a great sound and silence and sending the message like, we need to move. Nice technique, huh? A beautiful part of the world, man. So I really appreciate it. I just hit gold with you, boy.
Thank you. I'm glad I could help.
Really great.
I thought, and I'll write, because I wanted to write it like a guide to kayak fishing the East End or something like that. I have expertise in that area.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, oh, I'll write this great book. It'll be anecdotals, it'll be this, it'll be that. But when I got into the tournaments, I was so tired from fishing all day. All I ever did was sleep.
Yeah.
And I did a ton of fishing, and I had a lot to write about, but I never actually got to write it.
You talk into a recorder just to remember the key points?
What's that?
You talk into a recorder? It wasn't like that.
I was in the moment. You know, yeah. There were things that would come to me.
It takes a lot of energy to write.
I would kind of file them, and a sense of purpose, which isn't... I started out with one, but I wasn't planning on maintaining it, really. I really just wanted a break, and I thought these two things would meld nicely.
Oh, okay.
Together.
Yeah.
Neglecting the discipline that goes into writing.
The work part.
Right. I wasn't...
The artwork. Yeah, everyone, I'll catch myself and say, oh, this is the work part of the art. Yeah. And I've been writing in the last 3 years to get this project well thought out. And, you know, I've always had respect for writers, you know, because I love to read. But it's incredibly difficult.
Telling me that I should, and I had a desire to, that I thought, okay, this is all going to come together. And I had a great season. In fact, I had something, I ended up writing about it, and it was awesome. I became a published author, and I didn't even know it because I was so busy trying to become a published author.
Right, it snuck up on you, and you're like, what? Oh, I am?
The irony wasn't lost. No.
Fantastic.
And that made it a great piece, you know?
Oh. Yeah, synchronicity, it's all happening, and...
But for me to write, I have to feel it. And when I'm out here, I'm always feeling it, so it's great.
Yeah, you're out in a very big hunk of nature, and it can be deceiving that it's peaceful, and, you know, and all of a sudden, if you're not on your game, like you said, you hit Evans Rock. Is it Evans Rock?
Evans Rock.
You hit Evans Rock, and you don't realize it.
Now, the times that it was really only one time out here where I was in some jeopardy, and I had been going around to the other side of the point to Camp Hero,
right? Because
I was catching there was this one spot. They were huge bass, 40-pound plus bass.
Is it deeper there?
It was just different. I don't know, because I never fished that side. I just know that I went over there and suddenly I found this spot, and if I went there, every single night they were there.
You hit, yeah.
But there's a reason that you don't launch on the south side, because it's a lot rougher, it's more unpredictable.
Right.
Depending on the tide. it pulls a lot harder on the outgoing here than it does on the incoming.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know why that is.
That's interesting.
A hydrologist will figure it out.
Oh, you
I
got
just know
such an incredible thing going on,
it
right?
could be the shape of it, how it comes off, whether it's gradual or more abrupt on one side or the other. But I learned the hard way. I got over there. I had been there like 3 nights in a row and pulled a 40-pounder out each night. And I was just so happy and so confident, and only on a particular lure too. It's the weirdest thing. I was so confident though. So I get over there, and it was a little late in the tide and it was a little rough. So I knew I'd have to get there, get the fish, and then get back before it started to run out hard. The only time I could get around the corner is at the very, very beginning of outgoing.
Okay.
It's kind of funky how it comes off. It's almost like a curl. So there's one place where it runs in the same direction, whether it's incoming or outgoing.
So
it's
interesting.
really weird, yeah.
Yeah, because you got east and you got south, and
but it's also the water that meets at the point is not coming from the same angle and not in the same volume. So at different times in the tide, one current pushes the other harder.
I'm going to
so
look this up. This is so interesting.
Not static. It kind of curls and then extends as the tide turns.
Oh, and the curl is like perpetually out there?
Like current curl.
Yeah,
where
yeah.
you're going to end up getting
And you
pulled.
see that it's there.
No, you feel it.
Oh, you feel it.
And you're hopefully you're looking at your GPS and you realize even though you're pedaling like crazy, you're only going 0.5 miles an hour.
Right.
That's when you know you're in the current.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's ways you can get out of it, you know, and manipulate it and then just get up to where you need to be and then quick jump across. And so that's kind of what I was doing. I was over there, but I was a little on borrowed time. But it was at night and the wind picked up, swells picked up, and the water behaves differently on the outgoing than the incoming. And I found myself in some shit, you know.
And some
I was having
dire.
a real hard time getting back. I was pedaling as fast as I could, so I didn't look at my GPS because I thought this is the most that I can do. Don't get inside your own head. Just
Right.
stay focused, stay focused,
Right.
stay focused. But I'm pedaling, you know, the waves are picking me up and I'm kind of going with it. I'm worried that I'm going to get turned over. I can hear the waves breaking
They're not,
behind me.
are they breaking or are they
No,
swelling?
they're breaking.
They're breaking.
They're swelling at first, but now they're breaking. because
Really?
The tide is getting further and further, and I'm going into an area where I wasn't.
Out at sea, breaking waves.
Sort of.
Yeah.
I knew that I needed to stay as close as I could to the rocks without actually being in the break in order to kind of sneak around the corner.
Okay.
If I went too wide, that's when it starts to take you out to where the rips are. The rips aren't right on the rocks. The rips are, you know,
Further out.
off, sometimes almost a mile further off.
Wow.
But that's where you have these churning, rolling waves that will take a kayak and just spin you right over. It's 1 mile around the point from Camp
Hero
to just to where the rocks end.
Okay, the beginning, yeah.
It took me 2 hours to get back. I pulled a hamstring and I had to keep pedaling. It was.
You were getting nervous.
At one point, I realized how deep I was in there. But
Yeah.
then, oddly enough, no, I didn't get nervous.
No?
I got very, very calm.
You did.
It was the weirdest thing.
That's
And
great.
You want to hear it? You'll appreciate it.
Yeah, I will.
As, you know, as somebody who's creative and maybe connecting to nature. In the midst of this maelstrom, you know, and it happened, sheets of rain start coming down. It's almost comical if it wasn't
What else you got?
focused. And I was superstitious at the time. I thought good things happen when it rains for some reason. But
Yeah, of
I was
course.
thinking, all right, maybe this is a sign. Maybe I'm being taken to heaven, and this is the good thing that's going to happen. I don't know.
Cleanse you on the lift.
In that moment, you know, I'm pedaling like crazy, and the rain is driving, it's dripping off of my hood and, you know, off my nose, and sweating like crazy because I've been pedaling for so long. A praying mantis came down and landed on my fishing pole.
In this storm.
In this storm, so presumably to get out of the storm or seeking shelter with me.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was the weirdest omen in the world. So I actually got my camera out and managed to get a picture.
You took a shot of
You know,
the
it's got water dripping down. You can see, but
Oh
you can
my
see
God.
the praying mantis on my rod. And I thought, this will somehow tell the story of what happened when they find me afterwards, you know.
Right, the
You know,
picture.
we don't get
Right.
praying mantis though. Like,
The
obviously,
last thing he
in the
did.
storm, like, what was this?
I had dragonflies landing on me in the calmest, like I usually just do quiet water. There was a book, New York State Quiet Water, it was the title
Right.
for kayaking. And when you get into a little cove and there's just swarms of them landing on you, but you have the total opposite story. You're in like you said, every kind of thing happening in weather. You think they'd have been somewhere already. It seems like that guy was really looking for some help.
Yeah, it was a message of some kind. I still haven't figured it out.
Yeah.
I thought, you know, when things happen like that, of course, I attribute some deeper meaning to it.
Yeah, yeah.
Why not? I'm gonna get going.
I don't.
It was
Hey,
a pleasure talking to you.
I elbow you, man.
I'll probably see you again.
Absolutely wonderful. Thank you very much for sharing. It's like, you know, it's what we can do best. You know, we share our love, and we wonder together with the commonality, and this is the ultimate commonality.
Yeah, everybody's in their own place when you're face to face with nature.
I like one kid.
You realize how I was a teenager. I think I was home from college, and I was working on a long liner. And I remember when you set them, but then you just wait. Basically, you have to wait 12 hours or whatever. So you read a book, you do what you do. It's a series of hooks. Actually.
Oh, okay, on a line. Okay.
And then it's a mile long, and it has these leaders coming off of it that are each like between 10 and 20 feet.
Okay.
Literally with just chunks of meat. It could be squid, it could be whatever.
Okay.
And a lot of the tuna, you know, we would sell the tuna that we caught. Ideally, we'd love to get a swordfish that way. We didn't get too many of those. But it was just one night that we were out there drifting, and everybody was asleep, and I was up on the deck. And a whale came up like from me to the shore away from the boat.
Wow.
And in that moment, you know, I looked up and, you know, we're 20 miles offshore. You're not going to see any land or anything. It was nothing but stars and the whale
beautiful.
And me. And I realized, like, wow, you know, he could kind of flip his tail and just sort of knock us over, and nobody would ever know that. And he could swim away, and he's going to be just fine, you know. This is his world, and we're just visiting it, you know. But it made me realize how very small we are.
That's the first thing you said, and that is a big truth. I think that helps to be aware of it. It helps to know that you don't know as much as you think you know, and that's usually a sign of wisdom where you don't know.
Study nature if you want to know more about it. That would be, you know.
Yeah.
And be successful in anything to do with nature. Do your homework.
Yeah.
Says the teacher.
And peace.
Very nice meeting you.
So it got snagged and you unsnagged it?
Yeah. Just a method. You just gotta keep it up and then pull it back.
Up and back.
Yeah. You ever go fishing? He gets everyone out. I don't know how.
I was like, that looked tight, yeah.
Yeah.
So up and out, right? So
Usually people just try to just yank it. No.
yeah, that makes
What do you do?
sense.
You go up. Just go jerk up 2 times.
So you're trying to get the hooks to
Because
lock.
Like loosens it. Then you pull it.
Yeah, it was good. For a second there, I thought we had something happening.
Yeah, right.
Fine gold. 99.9 fine. 99.9 fine.
go. There's some fine gold right here. Right, honey? You're fine gold.
What do you say?
You're being recorded. Don't say anything dirty.
I'm not gonna say anything. Go record the waves.
What's that?
Go record the waves.
Go record the waves. Is that what you love, the waves? What did that gentleman have to say? Couldn't tell? Either?
Either it's an especially beautiful day to get a suntan,
Okay.
or I'm sort of exceptionally beautiful getting a suntan.
Ah.
I couldn't tell.
Go with B.
Smiling.
Cheapy. This guy doesn't know what he wants to do. He's like just driving around.
He's driving.
Guy behind us. He's been like looping around the same little space. Like he's learning how to drive. Yeah, one of the car here. It's just him, a guy and a woman, fishing rods on the roof. I'm not sure if there's kitties, but he likes to park back near the dunes. We like Lincoln.
Here.
Hi.
Thank you very much.
Nice gift. Great feather.
What was that? That was funny. It is very serene. Those waves go out. Carries. So I'm whispering, and there's a person talking probably on her phone. I don't even see her. She must be at least 100, 200 feet away. And I believe they're coming in from behind me, so I'm going to ask them if they want to share what they love about nature. Let's see if I can get them to focus on that idea. Some part of your brain says, don't step in that. It's muddy. It's gross. But when you do, it's not muddy. It's the color of the sand. And it feels so soft. And it does stop, so it's not like quicksand. It goes down 3-4 inches. and stops. And if you're not talking and just thinking about how it feels, it feels really good. Feels really good. It's connecting with nature, right? That's connecting with nature in a different way.
Pick the right day, right? Earth Day. Earth Day 3 something.